Have you ever heard the phraseology that sometimes keep it simple, stupid, KISS, K-I-S-S? I think that's a thing that some people should follow. I'm not saying that you should follow it, but I'm going to tell you why some of these simple items within my man cave, within my everyday care, are my most used items. But that doesn't mean that this applies to you. First off, we got to talk about the news. Team USA scores its first gold. Members of the U.S. men's 4x100 freestyle relay team, we went ahead and put the first gold medal in the bucket. We already won a silver a couple of days before this, but to get the first gold, it feels really good. I don't know, 2028, the Olympics are coming to Los Angeles. And if the Lord sees fit that I'm still alive, I'm gonna be in that thing. I'm gonna be out there, I'll declare it now. I'm gonna go ahead, head out there, but I think that's fantastic. If you don't physically get the newspaper every day, that might be the first simple tip that I can get you is like, take some time and read and invest in the news. It doesn't have to mean that you're diving into politics. You can do sports, you can do, entertainment, lifestyle, you can do stuff about the world. Just kind of keep yourself abreast of news. That's one of my first tips, but keep it simple, stupid. Why does that apply for me? Why it may apply for you, but it might not. So my job is primarily a work from home job. I end up doing a lot of DIY stuff around the house. I get out and about every day. I hit the trail that's near my house. Speaking of that, I saw somebody on the trail yesterday. I took my boys out on my one wheel and within our little wagon that we take out every now and again. And when I got out there, there was a guy who was like, "Oh, Marine X, I follow you on YouTube." And I was like, man, that's actually kind of cool. All right, I think that's kind of cool that people recognize me in public. So I wasn't wearing socks though. I was wearing slides with no socks. So now I'm gonna start wearing socks when I'm in public, because that guy was rucking with two of his dogs. And now that I know that he rucks, I kind of should have got his information or gave him my business card. If you're watching this, email me, whoever you were. And if you ruck in this area and I like to ruck, we might be some other ruckers, okay? We might be able to do that, but keep it simple, stupid. A lot of people would say that your coffee setup, X, is not simple. You could just get a Keurig, or you can get a drip coffee, or you can just get some beans that are already ground up. Like I'm literally taking beans that are not ground. I'm grinding them myself. I have this expensive espresso machine that I bought a couple of years ago, and I've since easily got my money's worth, but you could say that it was a big nugget, a big nut to spend initially. I'm not keeping it simple when it comes to my coffee mess because I don't want to. So when I say that this keep it simple, stupid may not apply to you and your everyday carry, it's okay to say, X, mine's not simple because I don't want it to be. That's fine. There are a lot of creators I like to watch on YouTube who have very complicated setups, redundant setups, and parts of their setups that are completely not needed because they want to, and that's okay. But I'm still gonna shit on some of your ideas just because I like to. So that's point number one. What I would say is, if you don't want to keep it simple, stupid, because you don't want to, tell me to pound sand in the comments down below and I won't be butthurt behind that. Point number two, the reason that my setup is pretty simple, because I am working from home. So as much as I like to test out this gear, as much as I try to get out and about, as much as I make it a point to actually take my family here or take my kids there or go do this with my teenage daughters or whatever, there's still a moment in time when I end up using the most simple of items because I don't have a big necessity for anything else. So for instance, right now I'm testing out the Benchmade 710. I did an overview over this. Great knife, but I'm gonna be honest with you, this is probably only gonna get carried for like a couple more days before I go back to my normal EDC, which is out of my reach right now, which is my Benchmade bailout. I miss it. As nice as this thing is, this is just a little bit too much for me. It's hard to wear in joggers. It doesn't feel, the angle. I'm not a big fan of recurve blades, mainly because I don't know exactly how to use them all the time. But it's a nice little knife, but for the sake of saying keep it simple, stupid, this may not meet that mark 100% for keeping it simple, stupid, but it's something to think about. The wallet that I've kind of come back to visit all over again is the Dango M1 Maverick wallet. And this is a very nice wallet, super complicated. It does have a little bit of Ditex and aluminum or steel, whatever the hell this is. RFID blocking technology, a multi-tool built inside, holds everything that I need very easily with no issues. You can take this thing out if you need to try. It's a lot. And I want to revisit this because I feel like every time I get a chance to carry this, I just don't want to go through the hassle of having all this stuff on me, but I found myself using this a little bit more, especially when it comes to my camera equipment and for stuff around the house. But this is not what you would define as keeping it simple, stupid. I'm testing this out just to see how it feels. And you know, it is what it is. And then the last thing that I've kind of revisited after quite a while is the Nitecore EDC, but this is the new version. This is the EDC 27 UHI. For a while, I was using the EDC 27, and let's just keep it real. I probably would do a video comparing these two because there are definite upgrades in the UHI, but if you already own the EDC 27, you know, you probably don't need to concern yourself with buying the UHI. But I just wanted to kind of let you know that my testing has brought me to the point where I'm testing these great items. They're fantastic. Just in case you're thinking about spending your money on them, you know, I do YouTube, so sometimes I find myself doing that. But if I was just doing like my normal, you know, everyday stuff, this probably would not be the items for testing. Before we would jump into those items, I gotta get back to the coffee, bro. All right, we got these beans looking pretty good on there. All right, so we're having some Black Rock Old Town coffee. I've talked about this before. The Black Rock Old Town Coffee, it's a local shop near me, and it's a family-owned business, although they have several locations around America. I think they originated near Starbucks. I think they're a direct competitor in the Seattle area. Maybe I'm wrong. If someone knows a Black Rock and I am completely besmirching their name and I don't have my facts correct, please jump in the comments and correct me. I would love if you gave me a little bit of history lesson on Black Rock. I just know they make a decent medium roast. I wish they made a light roast, but this kind of still gets the job done for me, particularly for a good old espresso. A lot of times people ask me like, what am I doing? What am I making? Today, I'm just making a regular espresso. Sometimes with you guys, I'm making an Americano. It just really depends on what I feel like doing. But I like this process of not keeping it simple when it comes to my coffee. So that's why I argue that if you don't want to keep it simple when it comes to your EDC, don't do it, okay? Because I get my setup looking real good. It makes me feel fantastic. And then when I go through this process of making this cup of coffee, it gives me, what is it called? The feelings of grandeur? What is it called? Delusions of grandeur, whatever it's called. But this is the most simple concept that I can have within my everyday care. And these items can be replaced with several different items, but I'm just gonna show you that when it comes to simplicity, K.I.S.S works for me because of my everyday life, my everyday job, and this may not apply to you, but we'll kind of go on the same journey. My most used item in the man cave, when I'm sitting in the man cave, a lot of times I don't have my pocket knife in my pocket. Right now I'm wearing some joggers that came from Nutsack. I didn't know that Nutsack made joggers until I bought a pair. But nonetheless, I'm wearing some joggers that came from Nutsack. And the thing about these joggers is that they're not very forgiving when you decide to actually put a heavy item in your pocket. So when I put, or a long item in your pocket, if I put this EDC 27 UHI in my pocket, a lot of it's hanging out of the pocket because of the angle of the joggers. Especially if I put this Benchmade 710 in my pocket, there's a lot going on. So a lot of times my most simple item that I used is this tiny EDC knife. I talked about this thing over a year ago on my tiny EDC items. I need to revisit this. I got this thing on Amazon a long time ago. It uses a number 11 utility blade, or as some people will call it, an X-Acto blade. Open packages with this thing. Fantastic for utility cuts. Utility cuts is when you put something on the surface and you cut onto it while it's on the surface. Very easy. I can swap out the actual, it does take a couple of steps to swap out the blade, but I keep a bunch of blades right near my fixed blade knives. It's always ready to go. I get packages every day because of what I do. But even if you don't do YouTube, you probably get packages from ordering on Amazon, Walmart.com, whatever you do. And so you would find yourself maybe grabbing your EDC knife. And someone brought up a great point yesterday in a live stream, and I do try to live stream from every now and again. Look at the head on that. You see the crema? A little crema on this. on this espresso. But someone brought up a really good point. They said, X, how do you deal with the anxiety of damaging or scratching or marring some of your EDC stuff because you want to keep it looking nice? I can take that point. Everyone's not made of money, but so I can't tell you to go out and buy multiple things. And then some people don't want to buy multiple things. And I've also took a shit all over people who carry multiple knives. So it would about almost be hypocrisy for me to tell you to do that, but it may make sense for you to do something like I have here, where this tiny EDC knife, which we'll dive back into this in a second, but even though we're talking about keeping it simple, stupid, I also like to keep my coffee area clean, because this is a total headache if I don't clean this thing out within 10 minutes of making a cup of joe. The crazy thing is like, it's so easy for me if I just keep this tiny EDC knife that I picked up on Amazon on a whim. It's made of stainless steel. I feel like this company needs to do a little bit better job of getting this hands into the knives of creators, because this thing works really great. But it's super simple to use, lift up, pull back, and all that type of stuff. Has a small pocket clip, so this works perfect when I'm in joggers, when I'm in shorts, lounge wear, all that good stuff. It says patent pending. I guess they're trying to patent this thing, has a keyhole. But if I own both of these, the Benchmade 710 and this tiny EDC knife, and I wanted to keep the Benchmade 710 looking good, because MSRP on this is $450. On base, you can get it for $365. Plug, go to shopmyexchange.com. I don't get any money from them, but if you are a military vet or active duty, you can get this for $365. $405 from Blade HQ. But you spend a lot of money on this. Some would argue too much money. I might argue that point. But if you don't want to mess this thing up, maybe you carry this thing, which will cost you 10% of that amount. This is $45. I think I got it on sale for like 41 bucks, so I didn't get a lot, but 10% of the value of the Benchmade, and it probably can do 80% of what the Benchmade can do. Now, yesterday I used the Benchmade to cut some roses, cut some stems on some roses. This can't do that. I was able to cut through 24 roses with that without having to take one rose at a time. This, I would have to do a couple roses at a time. I'm not cutting 24 roses with this little thing, right? I'm not slicing apples with this like I do for my kids. You know, this thing can't do a lot of stuff. But for most of the stuff, opening boxes, it knocks it out. And when we talk about the complication, most of the time I carry, and I took a big shit on the Axwell wallet when it first came out, October 2022, but since then, I have been glazing this for a very long time. As much as I like this dango, the dango is very interesting. It has some different interesting vibes to it. It's kind of complicated. It's kind of big, and it's a little intimidating to pull this out of the 7-Eleven and be like, all right, which card do I want again? Oh, it's this one. Okay, so a lot of times I end up carrying a friction style of wallet, whether it's Axwell, whether it's the Pulse X1. I need to get my hands on a Ridge because apparently a lot of you folks like them, but I just don't want to spend the nugget on a Ridge wallet. Ridge, if you're watching this, send me a wallet because I'm not going to buy one, okay? It makes it very simple. I can keep my cash in the very back. I can access my cards when they're in there, or I can keep my cash in the front with the money clip. If I don't want the money clip, I can remove the money clip very easily. I can also change the plates. This is very simple. This also costs, normally it's about 80% of the price, versus this is $149. This one, normally you can get it between 80 and 100 bucks. A lot of times they do sales on the Axwell wallet, and you can easily get these things, buy one, get one, or for $65, where you're almost spending, you know, half the price or less than half the price. But it's simple for me because of my lifestyle. That even brings me to my flashlight. Now you may say, technically, X, the K.I.S.S flashlight that you're holding in your hand, the PM50R, is bigger than the flashlight that you're EDCing right now, and you would be correct. But this flashlight is magnetic. I don't know if it'll stick on, no, that's not magnet, but this has a magnetic base. A lot of times what I end up using this for is I leave it on this workbench right in front of me, and I would just grab it on the fly, on the go. So my point is, as much as I like the UHI, flashlights that have magnets get used way more here in my man cave, in my everyday life, than any other flashlights. Matter of fact, well, if stick on this, let's see. This thing is supposed to be magnetic. There we go. If you have a magnet, it is more likely you get used in my man cave than any other fancy flashlight that may be sent my way. And I get a lot of flashlights, but it's simple for me, okay? So not necessarily size is not the thing that's the driver for me when it comes to the flashlight. Most of the time it is convenience. My desk is an uplift desk that's on steel legs. I stick flashlights on that. My secondary desk where I actually have to do work for my everyday job is a Husky workbench from Home Depot. The legs are made of steel. I stick this on that all the time and just grab a flashlight. So for me, keeping it simple, stupid is for keeping it for my everyday life. This is the type of loadout, and this can be interchanged with a number of items all the time. This might be a leather wallet that have a slip functionality. This could be the Gerber Prybred X instead of the tiny EDC blade. This could be a number of Olights that have magnetic bottoms. My point being is that if you don't want to keep it simple, stupid, don't do it. If your lifestyle is conducive for keeping it stupid, you know, keeping it simple, stupid, like mine is, then go for it. But that's why I say that keeping it simple might make more sense for your lifestyle than others' lifestyle. But I can argue the opposite point of why your EDC should be super complicated. If you're in the trades, you're into carpentry, maybe you install tile work, maybe you're an HVAC guy, maybe your hands bleed for a living. By the end of the day, there's a possibility that you may rip off tips of your nails will be dirty, except stuff like that. You know, then your EDC might need to be a little bit more rugged. Maybe you want something made of G10. Maybe you need something that's coated. Maybe you want a very, very cheap blade steel that can still cut, but it has a coating on the outside. So when you're working around chemicals, you don't have to worry about that stuff. Maybe you need backup stuff because you're going to run into situations where, because you're in any of these trades, a lot of times, oh, I'm a knucklehead, I left my fill in the blank in the truck. Now I'm inside of this person's house and hopefully I have a backup wrench on me or knife on me or whatever. I don't run into those scenarios, but when you look at somebody and you see some of these YouTubers and we call ourselves being minimal, you could say that will never work for me because of what I do. I feel you. I myself see myself as a maximalist when it comes to this man cave. I myself see myself as really enjoying the process of making coffee, and I am not a minimalist, where you could be that same person that has a very complicated EDC and also drink shitty gas station coffee. Like, we all have different realms that we fall in. Which one are you? Are you K.I.S.S? Pause. Are you keeping it simple, stupid? Or are you more of that complicated beast because of your work or because you just effing want to? Comment down below. I would love to know which one you are. It's Sunday. I just got the paper. I'm about to go read it. Then I'm gonna go inside and get into dad mode and keep my very simple EDC simple. I got shit to do. I'll holler at you.